Hi guys, good morning from the northwest of England. It's a beautiful, if not a bit windy day today here in the northwest of England, so I hope you guys are having decent weather wherever you are. I'm just really here to share some bits and pieces of what I've been making, mainly as an aid to my mental health journey. Those of you that have been with me for long enough know that I started my channel as a way of relaxing and a way of doing something that's just for me. I do have quite a stressful family life with my kids being the way they are. They're neurodiverse, and one of them has some other serious medical issues. So for me, making jewellery and making accessories and faffing around with wire and beads and fabrics and things like that is just my way of relaxing. So I hope you're okay to come along for the ride. So this week I've just been messing about with some different designs of things, and it came up on my Facebook group. I have a private Facebook group. Actually, if you're interested in joining that, I'll put the link in the description box. But it came up in I won't say who it is, but it came up in my group from someone who thought that the things that they were making weren't up to standard, or that they weren't happy with what they were doing. And it upset me a little bit, really, because the whole process, I think, of making things is just messing about, having a look and see what works and what doesn't. And you know what? It's okay to make mistakes. When I was designing these earrings, I was faffing around with different ways of using this particular motif, and nothing seemed to be going right, and I wasn't happy with anything. And then I came across the design for these. So all I really wanted to say was, it really doesn't matter, does it? If you make some mistakes, that's absolutely fine. And the whole process is part of why we do what we do, isn't it? I think it's nice to make things, and if they go a bit awry sometimes, then what does it matter? This is just a small handful of the mistakes that I made, or at least working out the process that eventually became these earrings. So I hope you enjoy making these today. Great for the mental health and great to keep us occupied. Okay, so let's go into what we need to make these. We're actually going to be making the companion to this one today. Can I show that here on the camera? There we go. So I like wearing these bracelets, and I thought I'd make a pair of earrings to go with it. So obviously I use copper, but you can use any type of wire that you like. And I just think that these guys are a celebration, aren't they? They're full of colour. All right, so we're going to be making the matching one to this one today. But here we go. This is what they look like in the blue turquoise. Aren't they pretty? I thought that the shape of these, I wanted something a little bit different, and I just thought the shape was kind of funky and a little bit more unusual to what you usually see for dangle, chandelier earrings, whatever you want to call them. All right, so let's go through what we need. So for this guy here, you're going to need some 1mm, that's 18 gauge copper wire. For those of you who use gauges, and that's a massive spool, so I'm going to just sort of shift that into the corner upside down so at least you can see that it's 1mm. You're also going to need some 0.4, that's 26 gauge wire. Like I say, you can use these in copper, or indeed you can use any wire of your choosing. Where's that one? There you go. So 0.4, 26 gauge. You're also going to need some 0.5mm, which I think is 24 gauge, 22 gauge perhaps. I will double check and put everything in the description box for you, because I use millimeters with being European, but you know, I will try and put the gauge equivalents in the description. You're going to need some flush cutters, as always. You're going to need some of your favourite bail making pliers, unless you like to use your round nose, and that's absolutely fine. Mine are 2 to 9 increments, and people ask me where I get mine from, actually, and these are from a company called PTL Prestige, which are a really affordable but super brand. I think you can probably get them pretty much anywhere in the world. I purchased mine off a very large internet selling platform. You know who I mean. But I'm sure that you can get these anywhere. So PTL Prestige, really, really good. You're going to need, again, PTL Prestige, you're going to need some nylon jaw pliers, because we are going to be making some knotted head pins. Okay, so you're going to need those. You're going to need your favourite chain nose pliers. Now I have various chain nose, needle nose for various different uses, which I like to use. You just get your favourite ones out. And what else are you going to need? I think just some beads now. Okay, so 2mm beads I'm using for these. I'm going to be replicating it with these little, they're just colourful shell beads actually. And, or you can, you can use, in actual fact, you can use 11/0 or 10/0, maybe. Whatever the equivalent is in seed beads, you can use anyway. I think it might be 11/0, 11 or 10. Yeah, 11 or 10, I think. So just double check, will you? In case I give you the wrong information, which is highly likely. And the only other thing that you're going to need is a couple of ear wires. If you want to make your own, that's absolutely fine. If you want to make something with a little bit of flourish in it, I'll put a link up here to my most recent video where I show you how to make more decorative ear wires, okay? But otherwise, just ear wires. All right, so I'll clear the table away. I'll stop waffling now and we'll go ahead and make the partner to this one. Okay, so I'll see you in a few. And we are back. Okay, guys, are we ready to go? Let's get into it. So we're going to be making this frame here. And I like the form of it, and I think when you're making a dangle earring or a chandelier earring, the temptation is to make it in the same sort of fashion, the same style. Let's just push it out a little bit and make a slightly different frame, which gives a slightly different look, I think. So we'll go ahead and have a look at how to do this. So we're going to be making this frame. Now, earrings, I think, if you want to make them handed, you're going to need to make them a left and a right, if you will. Okay, so I'll go through how to do that. Right, so your not your 0.1, what am I talking about? Your 1mm wire, you're going to need to take around about 25 centimetres, I'm going to say. I think that will give you plenty of room for manoeuvre, as I like to say. A little bit too much rather than not enough, which is always a good thing, I think. So let's get that big coil out of the way. Right, so let's have a look what that is in inches. 25. Okay, maybe go for around 10 inches, all right, guys? For you guys that use inches. So we're going to need to start to make this here. Now we want to have, you don't want to start it at the end, because obviously we're going to be bringing the wires round to join up in the middle. So you need to start what you're doing around about, I don't know, about 5 centimetres in, give or take, which is what? About 2 inches. So if you go 2 inches inwards when you start, give or take. Now I'm going to be using the 5th and the 1st step on my pliers, all right? So if you have different pliers, mine are 2 to 9. If you go from like 3 to 10 or whatever, just use your judgment. Don't forget, these are just ideas of things I've been faffing around with this week. Okay, so for the first earring, we want to go over the top, and I'll show you what I mean. So using the 5th step on my plier, I bend the wire around and go over the top of this wire here. Now there's a reason why I'm telling you this, because if we're going to make these handed, left and right, then you'll understand what I mean when we do the next one. So around and around and around till you get to this here, all right? Okay. The next thing you want to do is to use your 1st step and place it at the junction around about here. Okay. And then you want to bend this long wire again over the top, around and around. And, oh, there goes my fridge. there was my fridge. I had to pause there for a little while. I'm sorry about that because it makes a lot of noise when it's making ice. Okay, so you around the top again so that you make this little loop like so. All right, so this is your first one made, as you can see here. This is your first one. So we want to make another one next to it. All right, so again, take the 5th step. And around about, I'm going to say millimetre away from, don't butt it right up, but about 1 millimetre or 2 away from this edge of this hoop here. All right, you place your pliers again, and again, bend this long wire over the top and around like so, so that you have another loop like so. All right, then come back in with your first step. Place it thus and bend it around over the top. All right, just readjust your pliers like so. All right, so that's your second loop made. Don't worry about how it looks at the moment because we're going to adjust it in a minute. All right, so let's do the third one. So again, place your pliers about so, and then bend over the top. Rotate your pliers if you can, if you need to, just however you feel it works well. So we have our next little loop, and then place the first step of your plier inside and bend. Again, all the time bending over the top. So if you keep in your mind over the top, over the top, over the top, then everything is in place. All right, so there's our first little set of, I don't know, hoops, loops, whatever you want to call them. So you should have something that looks like this, which is this part here. All right, so the next thing we need to do is to make, and that one's a bit bent, but never mind, trust me, trust the process. The next thing we want to do is to make these guys here. All right, so you come in with your favorite pliers, whichever ones you like. I'm going to use these ones, I think, and we want to make angles so that these lengths here point upwards, slightly inwards. All right, so take your plier just kind of around about where it meets the hoop, the loop, and bend an angle in like so. Oops. Okay, and then the next one, you do the same thing. Now I like to flip it over just because I like to work from the top, if that makes sense. I find I work better if I don't have to be doing this, so I flip it over, and again, just where that meets the loop, bend it upwards, and just fiddle around and faff about until you're happy with the size of this triangle. You can have them squat if you want. You can have them larger if you want for a larger dangle, but I think that's about right. And if you wanted to, you could measure these so that you get it, you know, exactly the same. Again, like with anything else, particularly with me, I don't like perfect because, you know, you don't want it to look like you've bought it from a production line. So the next thing you do is put a bit of an angle on both of these guys, like so, because we are going to be wire wrapping this one over the top of that one. All right, now if you don't want to mar your wire, I suggest you come in and hold this section here with your nylon jaw pliers, and all you need to do is either use your fingers or use a set of pliers and just wrap this guy around the top like so. All right, so let's just snip this off like so. Mind your eyes, as always. Let's have no suing Sam for damage to eyes. I wear my glasses, so that's a little added layer of protection, but obviously just mind your eyes when you're snipping. All right, so there we go. So we've made our first frame. All right, so like I said, if you wanted to make them handed, which you don't have to, I mean, I think with this design, you could probably get away with not making them handed, but let's make another one so I can show you what I mean. So let's make this second one. All right, so you want a length of wire around about 25 centimeters, about 10 inches long. Okay, so let's make these this other earring, the handed earring. So left and right essentially. So make it in exactly the same way. So take your fifth step with your plier like so. And instead of going over the top, which is what we did with the last one, we want to go underneath. All right, so instead of over the top of this wire, we'd want to do all of our wrapping underneath. Okay, so underneath. All right, and then we want to take the first step of the plier, like so, and not over the top, but again, underneath. So we're doing exactly the same principle, it's just that we're taking things underneath instead of over the top, like so. All right, so again, take the fifth step, and underneath like so, and underneath. It just basically means that when you have them in your ear, I'll show you in a second, the angles are in opposite directions. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. If you just want to make them all the same, that's absolutely fine. So as you can see, I'm going underneath all the time, underneath instead of over the top, like so. All right, so that's what I mean by reversing things. So you can just jiggle these around a little bit. So as you can see here, we've got two. So as you can see here, this guy is coming over the top and to the left. This guy will come over, to the right, on the right, and this guy will come over the top on the left-hand side. This one comes from behind and points to the right. This one comes from behind and will point to the left. All right, so it's exactly the same thing. So we don't have to do the wrapping bit because you've seen that before. So that's what I mean by reversing things. All right, so let's go ahead in the next part. So this is where we want to start wrapping some cute little beads around these areas here. All right, so this is where your 4mm, not 4mm, gosh, that would be thick, wouldn't it? 0.4mm wire comes in. 26 gauge. I don't know what's wrong with me this morning. I'm having one of those you know, moments that 50-odd-year-old women get, and I know there's a lot of us out there who feels a little bit, ugh. I'm feeling a little bit bleh this morning, so bear with me. Right, so what I like to do is to put a little angle on these, okay, so you can keep them flat if you want, but I just use my thumb and my forefinger and just bend a little angle. Can you see that? Just because I think it looks nice and sweet. Can you see? There's a little angle on it. So let's go ahead with that. So you come in with your 0.4, all right, up through this large hoop here. And we just want to anchor the wire, and I do 3 wraps to anchor on either side. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. And squish things up a little bit, like so. This guy here wants to come from underneath and over the top. All right, so let's get our beads out. Now these little 2mm beads are literally just colourful shell beads. They weren't expensive. Ugh. They weren't expensive. They were just, can't remember where I got them actually, but not expensive at all. So all we want to do is to find the hole. There we go. All right, and just literally wire wrap these guys on to this hoop here. Now I have 3 initial wraps, and then I put 2 in between each bead, just because that's the way I roll. And you can do whatever combination you like as long as you fit. I've put 5 in. You can put as many as you like, you don't have to do any at all. Don't forget, these are just ideas. So that's 2 wraps. I'm just going to put another bead on with my Mrs. Magoo eyes, so just bear with me whilst I try and see what I'm doing. Okay, so again, that's 1 wrap. If you need to come in and use your pliers to pull the wire taut, just with this thinner wire, just be careful not to snap it, okay? Because the more you work it, the more brittle it becomes actually. So just be careful not to overwork it because it will snap. Just be gentle, that's all. So that's 2 wraps. Let's get this little red one. I can see what I'm doing. Ooh, there we go. All right, so you just keep going along like this until you've got 5 of these little beads on. Like so, and through. Whilst I'm doing this, tell me how you're doing. Tell me what you've been making. I like to hear from you guys actually, so let me know. Part of this channel is I like to have a chat. I know that there are some people who don't like the chat and they like these very quick fire videos, which is fine. That's absolutely fine. They like the quick fire videos which take you really quickly through everything, and that's absolutely fine. But part and parcel of this channel is for me to connect with people. It is, after all, my channel, and I really like to hear from you guys. It's nice to chat with people from all over the world, actually. And I think in my Facebook group, I'm finding that there are people from all over the place, mainly in the States, which is great. But, you know, there's people from all over the world, which I really like. And it helps me no end, because it's quite lonely here in the northwest of England, living the life that I do. I don't get to get out very much. So it's a chatty channel. So come and have a chat with me whilst we finish this guy here. All right, so I'm just going to show you one side, and then I will pause the video when I've done the second side. All right, so we've got our 5 little beads on, like so. I'm just going to finish this off with 3 wraps, just to replicate this side here. So that's 2, I think. No, that's 1. And 2. And 3. Like so. All right, so that's our little set of beads attached. So all you need to do now is to chop away gently the little wire ends. It's very mindful making these actually. I really enjoyed coming up with this design this week. Like I said, there was lots and lots of mistakes and lots of lots of wasted wire whilst I was coming up with the design, but that's just the way it is. All right, so you've got these guys on the one side. So I'm going to pause the video now whilst I do the second side, and then we'll meet back, okay? So have fun with that. Okie dokie, so we're back. How did you get on there? Hopefully you have now got something that looks a little bit like this. Really cute, huh? So the next thing we want to do is to start making these little dangles. Now I've put 7 dangles on here, just mainly because I wanted a bit of a carnival feel to them. A bit cha-cha-cha, whatever you want to call it. But how cute are those? Okay. So the next thing we want to do then is to come in with some of these knotted head pins. All right, so you probably know how to make these, but I'll just quickly run through one. All right, so we need to come in with some 0.5 millimeter wire. Really simple to make. Now, when we are going to be putting these on, we're going to be wrapping around with our fingers. So you want to make these slightly longer than it feels natural to make them, all right? So I would suggest you make each one of these approximately 8 or 9 centimeters, 3.5 inches, all right, because we are going to be doing a little bit of wrapping. So what I do is I cut a section off, come in with my needle nose or the very, very tip of your round nose, and we need to be making a little spiral. So let's see if I can get the camera to focus. It's a very, very tip, turn it round, make a tiny little spiral like so, and then bend your wire upwards over the top like so. Then you bend this part of the wire through the hole like so. So you have this little sort of loop looking thing here. You then come in with your nylon jaw, hold this tight at the end, grab this section with your nylon jaw pliers and pull like so. And there we have a knotted head pin. Really, really simple to make. All right, so I'm going to be using 7 of these guys. You can use however many you like, but 7 for me. So come in with the head pin. Now, when I've made this one here, I've put 7 in the middle, and then a 5 on either side, and then a 3, and then a 1. All right, so you can replicate this, or you can do whatever you want, or you can make them all the same length, however you like it. All right, so I start in the middle. So let's go for 7 beads, which I will try and do quickly so that you're not totally bored. Although, you know what, like I said to somebody, you know, fast forward is absolutely fine. I'm not here for the money. I'm not here to, you know, drag things out. I'm just sharing. So, you know, fast forward this part if you feel the need to. That's 3 and 4. They're cute, these little beads. I wish I could remember where I got them from. And then 5. And a green one. 6. And I don't know. Let's have another pink. And 7. Where's the little hole? Good grief. This is the problem when you're getting older and your eyes are going a bit funky. There you go. Right, so we've got 7 on here, like so. So all you do basically now is a wire wrap loop. So take your plier, bend at an angle like so, and then I come in with the first step of my plier. Use your round nose, whatever it is you fancy doing, that's fine. And then around, literally a wire wrap dangle. So I start in the middle, all right? So very gently place this guy through the middle of the large loop here, and just gently pop it on, wiggle it on. Then you come in with the needle nose. I'm going to suggest needle nose here so you can get a really good tight, you know, sort of grasp on the loop itself. And then with this guy here, just wind it round a few times. I like the slightly more scrappy look, if you will. I just think it gives it a bit more character, like so. If you're happy with how that looks, then just come in and give it a little snip, like so, and then just tidy this guy in, like so. So that's our first dangle done. All right, so attach your dangles, and when I've attached mine, we'll come back and I'll show you how to finish it off. Okay, nearly there. Okay, we're back, guys. Let's just put the last one on here and then we'll finish this off and we'll have a look at some ear wires. Okay, so I hope you got on okay with this. And I really needed some colour and some fun this week. So I don't know about you guys, but you know, making colourful jewellery and having fun with colour is a really good way, isn't it, of brightening our moods up. So there we go. So the last one on here, and let me see if I can pop this on. Typical. because I'm doing it on the camera, it's being difficult. So let's just pop that on. There we go. So back in with my pliers here, keep things out of the way, and then just literally wrap around. Really simple. Wrappy wrap, wrap, wrap. And like I say, I like things a bit scrappy looking, so that's good. Take the end off there, and there we go. So here's number 2. All right, so let's have a look what we've got going on here. Right, so that's number 1 and number 2 done. How cute are those? So what do you feel about those? Aren't they fun? And I thought that they, you know, would go well with my bracelets that I like to wear because I like a bit of colour. So the next thing we need to do basically is to just attach an ear wire. So like I said at the beginning of the video, I will put a link up to my little video where I made some cute ear wires. All right, so some little embellished ones. Let me see if I can find the one to match that, which is there. There we go. So let's have a look at what we do next. So all you need to do is make a loop at the top. So I like to bend it like so. Oops. Like that, away from me, and cut it about 1 centimetre, I would suggest, give a take. And then I come in with the first step of my plier and bend it around. That's too long, so I'll just give that a little bit of a snip. Try again. There we go, that's better. That's better. And then just give it a little bit of a tidy and a neaten up. That's fine. All you have to do now is to pop your little ear wire on. All right, so just open this guy up. And I've used these little trefoil earrings mainly because there's 3 loops on it, and I thought that it was, you know, because there's 3 loops here, it would be cohesive, if you will, but whatever you like. A simple ear wire, a gold one, a silver one. You can mix metals. You can make these out of all sorts of different metals that you like. And there we have it, a pair of wonderful, well, let's think of a name. If you can think of a name for these, let me know in the comments, and let's name these, shall we? Funky carnival style earrings, aren't they beautiful? So I hope you have a lot of fun making these, and I hope you don't mind me having a bit of a chatter with you and a bit of a natter, and I'll see you in my next video where hopefully we'll be making something very pretty again. All right, so have a lovely week, guys, and I'll speak to you soon.